Get off with some quick introductions, I suggest. Brenda, do you want to go first?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to represent SBM for you. My name is Brenda, and I'm a third year business and management student. I'm from India, but I'm brought up in Belgium, and now I'm studying in London. Currently, I'm also living on campus, enjoying my last year. And yes, I've had a great time at SBM, and I'm happy to share it with you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more that we've both sort of had a great experience so far at university. My name is Georgi or Georgi, however you like to call me. I'm originally from Bulgaria and moved to London about 7, 8 years ago to do my education here. And yeah, I'm in my final year studying business management. Had my last lecture at university ever last week, and it felt very nostalgic already. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to going back on campus as an alumni soon. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. So hopefully you find the stuff that we present to you useful. Let's go into this slide then. Brenda, do you want to kick it off?
Could
Yes.
I just quickly say we've got the Q&A open, so if anybody has any questions, please put them in the Q&A, and at an appropriate time I can then ask each one of our presenters about it. Thank you.
Yes. So, why study school business and management at Queen Mary? So, firstly, we have students and staff from over 160 nationalities. Take Georgie and me, for example. I would have never met a Bulgarian if it weren't for this university. I've never met anyone from, I think, Romania. I've never met anyone from Ukraine, but I did that at Queen Mary while studying business and management, and it just broadens your cultural knowledge. Secondly, it's situated just 5 minutes away from central London. We have a vibrant campus. The two pictures here are pictures I took in the last month while just taking a break. When I've had enough of studying, I just go down for a walk. There's a cafe. There's a cafeteria. We have a beautiful canal side, and I think it's one of the only campus universities in London, so you actually have the privilege to walk around within the safety of the university. And thirdly, we have a wide range of modules available in years 2 and 3, which means you can tailor your degree according to your interests. Because in year 1, you have your compulsory set of modules, but year 2 and 3 is all you, and you can decide whether you want to study accounting, do more marketing modules, or economics. You can. It's up to you. And we also have an excellent career and enterprise services department, which means that if you're applying for an internship, which is brought to you by Queen Mary or something you found on your own, you can always contact them and they will help you with your interview practices. They'll go through your CV with you. They'll help you with your cover letters, whatever it is. They're there for you. And lastly, I think Georgie can explain this better.
Sure, yeah. So when you study at the School of Business and Management, Queen Mary as a whole, as a university, you have access to all these Q programs that we run at the university, which include Q Temps, Q Consult, which is now rebranded to the Student Consultancy Project, Q Incubator, Q Taster, and of course we've also got our own sort of internships within the school. So what these stand for instance, well, let's take Q Consult as an example, or the Student Consultancy Project, like I told you, is a mini consultancy project, which I think both myself and Brenda have done, which essentially allows us to work as consultants on a part-time basis while we're studying, and we have a client and a project that we work against, and it really gives us that sort of taste of what being a management consultant, for example, would be like in the real world. Now, all of these opportunities that you see, or at least most of them, are paid as well. So as well as the great experience that you get, which you're then able to put on your CV and impress, future employers, you also get paid, which is, I think, something that we all appreciate as students. Q Taster, for example, is another program that we run at the university and at our school in particular, which essentially offers insight days into some of the world's biggest companies that we work with, which are exclusive to School of Business and Management students. So for example, last year, if I'm wrong, Helen, please correct me, but I think students went to Microsoft, they went to Barclays, and they usually visit all these sort of major corporations just to be able to network with professionals, which I think is very important when you're entering the world of work right after university or even during university on a placement year or an internship, of course. And they also give you an opportunity to really get a taste of what the company that you're visiting is about, how it feels to work there, and speak to current employees. And another thing that I also wanted to touch on, just to add to what Brenda said, was about the modules that we have available in the second and third year. Now, in our business management program, you only have compulsory modules in your first year, which I intentionally selected to have a broad range so that you get a feel of what the business management field is like, really, and select what you want to do in years 2 and 3 after that, based on what you like in terms of, the academic sort of interest that you've got, but also combine that with your career aspirations. So, for example, if you want to go into marketing in 2nd and 3rd year, you could choose more marketing related modules such as persuasive strategies in marketing, which I think was one of the best modules in the 2nd year, and tailor your degree towards a marketing career, for example. But yeah, that's overall what our sort of reasons of studying at SBM are really. And well, in my opinion, and why I chose it personally, was certainly because of how welcoming the university felt. The campus is just so vibrant and friendly, and you can really make friends with everybody. We're not just talking about students, but also staff and academics. Everybody's so approachable. So I think that's really cool about Queen Mary. So yeah, going on to the next slide, Brenda.
Actually, I'd like to add something I forgot
Yeah,
to
go for it. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. So about the location, we're also really close to Canary Wharf. For those of you who are interested in accounting, or all of those corporate jobs that go on in Canary Wharf, I think SBM provides a lot of opportunities for you to apply for, and it's also so close to, if you find something, you can always go there and network there. And like, for example, I have a friend who's in their 2nd year, and he's really, really into accounting. And even though everything's online, he messages people in LinkedIn who work in offices in Canary Wharf, and he's gotten the chance to speak to them as a Queen Mary student, and it's always a good opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. You could also walk to Canary Wharf from the campus, which would take you a bit longer. But
I've done it many times, especially in lockdown. It's
you on your Instagram.
Yes. You can go on to the next slide now.
Yeah, sure.
So a little insight into business and management. Like we mentioned, we have a lot of modules available you can choose from. And here are a few that we thought were really unique and ones we actually enjoyed. Obviously, we enjoy all of the others, but these caught our eye. For example, strategic management, marketing and communications, and business and law. So Queen Mary has another program called business and law, and no other university in the UK provides that mix of subjects. And I took it as a module instead of the course, and I learned so much about what law students do, or what the law aspect of business is about. And I don't think I would have been able to do that at any other university. I'm really into marketing, and in the future I want to do something in digital media. So I took a lot of marketing modules, and every year we have a lecturer from a different country. So he provides his own cultural advice, like how marketing is done where he's from, and then he just gives an entire overview of marketing worldwide. And strategic management was, I think, a module from year 1.
Strategic management used to be a 2nd year module, then they moved it to 3rd year now.
Oh, okay. I don't think I took that one, but you can speak about it later. And sorry, the screen is being blocked by someone waiting. Okay, yes. And yes, like I mentioned, we have a lot of modules available, which means that in year 2, year 3, and year 1, 2, 3, there's different marketing modules for each year that provide different frameworks. They cover different topics. And I think I did take strategic management, and the lecturer actually every week he would go to either a Tesla shop or showroom, or an H&M shop, and each week would be a different case study, and he'd go out there and he'd speak and show us a video of him speaking from there, and then he'd have an entire analysis of what the company has done, how they've developed, how they've strategically moved from 0 to this big. And I thought that was such a cool module. But I think Georgie will explain more about the buddy scheme in the past and the academic advisors.
Sure. So with respect to the modules, of course, I think it's also very important to know that when you're doing a business management degree at Queen Mary, we take a global perspective on everything. So we don't really just look at one side of the argument. For instance, if you're looking at, let's say, mentoring practices in international or multinational corporations in London, we don't just look at that from the perspective of the manager of that organization, but we also take into account everybody's views on it. So for example, different employees or stakeholders that are involved. So that's really interesting about how the degree is structured and how the modules are delivered at Queen Mary. And I think marketing, communications, and strategic management were also certainly among the the modules that I really enjoyed in my first and second year, because like Brenda said, for example, strategic management, the module organizer was so engaging, and he also came from Harvard University, so having that sort of access to a Harvard University lecturer was amazing. And you know that doesn't mean that, you know, when somebody's from Harvard University, Oxford, because we've got all these academics there that are all absolutely amazing, it doesn't mean that, you know, the course is extremely challenging, because yes, it is, because that's the main point of university, to be challenged, right? But also we've got all these support schemes, such as the peer assisted study support scheme, which is PASS, as you can see here on the screen. Essentially, that is a mentoring scheme for first year students, which is run by second and third year students and postgraduate students at the School of Business and Management, essentially delivering workshops and sessions on a weekly basis to help first years have a smoother transition into university. But we've also got the academic advisors and skills tutors who help with things like academic writing, which not everybody has been exposed to pre-university, right? And also quantitative skills tutors who help with numbers-oriented modules. So for example, when you have accounting for business in your first year, and for example, if you feel like you're struggling a bit, you can always access that sort of a tutor and have a one-to-one session, which I think really helps, and it makes a difference when you're at university, because to have that sort of support is really important, so that you feel more confident when you're approaching exams, for example.
Yes, and sorry.
Oh, go for it. Sorry,
Yeah. So, for example, the last thing Georgie mentioned about the skills tutor, most of the other students in my course had already done a little bit of economics and accounting in their school. Me, on the other hand, I had no knowledge of accounting. I knew nothing about accounting because I did EB, and EB just doesn't cover it. And when I came here, I saw the notebooks, the module content, the lectures, and I was so overwhelmed. And the skills tutor definitely helped me, even though the accounting module was very basic in the first year, I was clueless, and they taught me the ABCs before I went under the lectures.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to come from an economics background or a business background to do well in that course, really. So next we've got societies, and Brenda, I'll let you kick it off again, because you're very much involved with societies at university.
Yeah, so like I said, I was from Belgium, and I still considered myself sort of an international student because I knew nothing about the UK, I knew nothing about London, but I'm really in touch with my heritage, which is my Indian ethnicity. So I really wanted to be part of the Queen Mary Hindi Society. So there's a picture of me from Freshers Fair in year 2 when I was part of the committee. So we have we celebrate every festival, and we have so many socials. I mean, we used to. I'm sure everything will get back to normal next year. And I also joined the Bollywood Dance Society. So you can just we have societies for every activity, every sport, every religion, every country. And if you don't find one that you're interested in, you can start your own with your friends. And it's just a place to meet new people, because the course, obviously you meet people in your lectures and your seminars, and you'll get to know people because of your group work, but you really only learn when you go out of your comfort zone. You meet people from different societies, or you're learning about new cultures or food, or how there's also business related societies, which I think Georgie was part of. So yeah, I wasn't part of it. So how about you?
Yeah, sure. Well, firstly, I think you put it really well when you were talking about how you were a committee member for one of the societies as well in your second year, which I think is really important. Because the first step is to get involved with societies and become a member and really get engaged, attend events, and be an active member of the society. But also being part of the committee, for example, is another thing that you could do, which is something that you could add to your CV, which would then help your career after that, or certainly your interviews and application process once you're applying for those internships or graduate jobs. I'm personally the head of partnerships for the Business and Enterprise Society, which is one of the largest academic societies on the Queen Mary campus. And usually we have events with companies such as Facebook, Google, and Amazon. I actually organized one in this semester around February time with Amazon, which was really exciting because we got to speak to Amazon employees. Although it was virtual, we still managed to have a good time. And like Brenda said, there is literally something for everyone at Queen Mary. There's hundreds of societies, and no, I'm not exaggerating. There's certainly over 200 societies at university. But there's also other things that you could really take part in to kind of stand out once you're applying for jobs later on. One thing that I did, which is always something that recruiters and interviewers are really keen to ask, is my experience of studying in China. Because in the summer of 2019, I went on a summer school in the city of Chengdu, which is in the Sichuan province in China. And I think that was certainly one of the biggest highlights of my time as a Queen Mary student, because I got to experience a new culture, which is, again, very important when you're entering the world of work, because you need to be culturally aware. And I also got to really speak to different people from hundreds of different backgrounds, because that program really entailed not just students from China, but also students from around the world. It was like a global sort of university immersion program. So it was a really exciting opportunity. So you can see a picture here of me on top of Mount Qingcheng, which was really exciting. It was the first time I was climbing that mountain, so yeah, it was really exciting. And next here we've got some photos of us enjoying the great mix of both the academic and the social life. In the first photo on the left, for example, you could see me with a few of my friends at the end of our examination period in semester 1 last year, when we went to Vapiano, which is like an Italian pasta place, which some of you may know. It was just really cool to like go and relax a bit after the exams. And, you know, yeah, it's just great, because when I look at this photo, which I've got on my wall as well, it just reminds me of that time that we had together last year, which was amazing. And then on the second photo, you can see a number of students, part of the Alpha Kappa Psi Society, which is a fraternity, which is like an American sort of society. They went to the Salesforce Tower in London, which is something that, again, a lot of universities, our school does, and of course the societies themselves also organize in terms of events and engagements with employers on their premises. So you go again and you have an insight session to the company, and also a networking opportunity with employees from there. Then I can see Brinda and Dhruv, but I'll let you, Brinda, tell us more about
Yeah, so for me, London was all about exploring London, because Belgium's a very calm city. There's just a lot of greenery, a lot of space. But London, on the other hand, was just, Shoreditch, Tower Bridge, Central London, Mayfair, Soho. So for me, it was just, going on bike rides, going on long walks, looking at the city, just admiring it before I have to go back. So before lockdown was a thing, social life for me was just, exploring London.
No, yeah, I mean, even now, I think now that, lockdown rules have been eased a bit, we're all very careful when we're going out, but I think
Yeah.
still important to enjoy your life and meet people. So this is probably one of the really exciting slides, not that the others weren't, but that we're presenting today. But this is really about where your career might, where your degree rather might take you in terms of your career after university, which is something that I think everybody thinks about before selecting what they do at university. And when you do a business management degree at university, it means that you have a really sort of broad exposure to a number of topics such as marketing, HR, finance, digital technologies, and much more, which means that, as you can see on this screen, you can go into a variety of sectors and industries. So, for example, a lot of our graduates go into companies such as Amazon, the Big Four, and financial services and professional services companies like JP Morgan, for example, Deloitte, Capgemini, which is a consultancy firm. And certainly one of my friends who I actually worked with during an offer holder event this February, from Spain, actually. His name is Diego, and he now works at Amazon as a brand specialist or an e-commerce graduate, which is another name of saying that role. We've also got friends like Arjun, for example, who joined JP Morgan in 2019, and he's been there for about 2 years now. Then
I have.
No, go
Sorry.
on.
No, go ahead, Georgie. Sorry.
Sure, yeah. I'm joining Salesforce myself, which is another sort of tech company, which is something really exciting, because coming from a business background, joining a tech company sounds really exciting. And then a number of our graduates also go into NGOs and charities like Mind, which we actually have a close partnership with. And others, create their own startups or join medium and small sized businesses like SPF Private Clients, Adapt App, which I think you guys might know because it is an app for students and to help their revision. So we have really close partnerships, the school itself and the university, with a lot of these employers that you see on the screen. So that really helps when you're applying to kind of mention the institution you're coming from. Brinda, back to you.
Yes. So I know I was going to add that I had like another student from Belgium who came to Queen Mary. She's our senior. She graduated 3 years ago. She worked at Google, and now she has a really good position at PwC in the marketing field. And it's just insane to see how many people have made SBM proud. But yeah, I just wanted to add that.
No, absolutely. And I think that, that just goes on to show that when you do a degree in business management, that doesn't really, kind of restrict you in terms of like what areas or fields and industries you can go into, because it is really broad. As you can see, for example, Polina, who is still at university, she's in our course, she's a third year. She recently joined Nestle in Russia, in St. Petersburg, in their office there. Then we've also got friends joining Tata Consultancy Services in their London office and their offices in Mumbai as well in India. So again, the spectrum of career sort of fields that you can join after studying business management at university is really broad. And the skills that you pick up, which is something very important. So for example, being able to work as part of a team, which I'm sure that a lot of you have already done, being able to present, so public speaking, but also being adaptable and flexible when it comes to, changing very quickly when a situation changes. So for instance, if you have something to do today, but then someone else comes in and says, actually, there's something more important that needs to be done. So being that flexible and adaptable to the changes that are happening around you is really, really important when entering the world of work. And yeah, like I said, when you're doing a business management degree, the best thing is that you're exposed to all these number of topics, such as, like I said, human resource management, finance, digital technologies, marketing, and so forth. And you can really explore a career in many, many fields, but to do so, you've really got to be proactive on campus and to really be engaged and involved. So like we said, all these things that we showed you earlier, get involved with societies, going abroad, for example, working as a student ambassador, for instance, or just taking part in group projects is very, very important, because that will make you stand out in the recruitment process, and that will allow you to have something to talk about during an interview. So again, I hope that this has been helpful. We're now opening the floor to any questions. Do feel free to ask us absolutely anything. And in the meantime, let me just remind you that we have the Unibuddy platform, which is essentially a messaging platform where you can directly ask Queen Mary students about their studies, for example, or anything else. If you just Google Unibuddy Queen Mary, you'll be able to do so. And we're more than happy for you to connect with us on LinkedIn and ask us anything that you'd like. Now, any questions? I cannot see.
Yeah, I don't see the chat box.
Right, let me just go to Teams then. Okay, oh, where is it? Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Am I still sharing my screen? Okay, great. Let's see if there's anything in the chat. Are there any taster sessions coming up? There's always insight sessions and taster sessions that the school organizes, the university itself, but also societies, like I said. We recently had Amazon, for example, and when you join the Q Taster program, which is essentially all about getting those insight sessions into these world renowned companies, they always organize these on a regular basis. There's another question.
I can't see the chat box for some reason.
I'm able to see it, and it says, does Queen Mary offer scholarships for students? Certainly, yeah, a number of scholarships and bursaries. If you Google bursaries and scholarships, Queen Mary, you'll be able to see what we've got available. For some of these, you're automatically considered, and for others, you have to apply. But again, look out for those on the website. Yeah, I think I actually got a scholarship for my studies in China. I got one from Santander, which is the bank, and then I got one from the Sichuan University in China as well, which was really nice. Brenda, would you like to go for this one? It says, how intense is the workload in business management?
So I think it's a gradual steep increase. So in year one, it's just obviously coming from a high school, from a 12th grade to university is a big shift already, but they take it, SBM takes it easy. So since you have compulsory modules, they're all just introductions to those modules. So like they're very simple, they explain everything, and then once you're through the week 4 or 5, they start giving you more work. And I think it's a good system and good structure because it gives you time to acknowledge, okay, yeah, I need to plan on my own. I need to have my own study sessions. Lectures are not enough. I need to have my own timetable where I decide when I want to do readings and I want to do when I want to go through my lectures and when I want to start my essays or when I want to do a part-time job. So I think year one is a good start to like just warm you up. And then year 2 and 3, since you've chosen the modules, you know what kind of assessment you're going to have, what kind of content you're going to have to go through. So more or less, you just realize along the journey. And I don't think it's too bad if you start managing your time in advance.
Yeah, I agree with Brinda. It is a challenging degree, but that is again the main point about going to university, to be challenged, to be stretched, and to explore things that are out of your comfort zone. But again, it is very manageable. As long as you put the effort in, you will do well. And there is another question, which is about, do you offer placement years abroad? Yes, so there is a degree called International Business with Placement Year Abroad, I think, which is a 4-year degree. And in your 3rd year, essentially, you go to a partner university abroad. We've got a number of those in Asia, Europe, Americas, pretty much all over the world. We've got partner universities in New Zealand and Australia as well. So yes, you can do that. But if you're asking about placement years in terms of going out to work for an employer for a year, you can also request to do that. You can submit a request to the school, and once it's approved, you can spend your 3rd year working at, I don't know, a company, for example, that you're interested in, and then come back to complete your 4th year at Queen Mary. There's another question about, how did you find business law? Brinda, I didn't take that module, so maybe you could answer this
So
question.
business law was by far the most challenging and difficult module I've taken, but it taught me a lot. So I don't regret taking it. I wouldn't go back and change it. It was just very different from what you usually do. It wasn't just essays. You have to like look back into like very famous cases where, you know, there's been business fraud, there's been accounting fraud, and you just learn how legally you have to deal with a business. Like, we all learn about the marketing, we all learn about economics, we learn about accounting, we learn about you know, just how to start one, how to manage it, how to maintain it, but nobody ever speaks about the legal aspect, which I thought was very important. So I took it. And yes, it's not going to be easy because, again, it's from a law school. It's a module from the law school, so it's going to be a challenge, but I promise you'll come out learning a lot.
And then there's another question at the end from Michelle, who asks, what tips do you have for writing a business management personal statement? And I think, number one, you've really got to convey your passion as to why it is exactly that you want to study that degree. So what I mean by this is saying what you've done to be interested in doing a business management degree. For example, maybe you've done work experience with a bank, for instance, or any other company that's allowed you to gain some skills which you think make you suitable for that degree, or you've had a retail job, for instance, where you've been able to work with people, which you know is something that's key in any degree, and certainly in business management. But you've got to also say, you know, what your real passion about studying this is, and how that is going to help you achieve the next sort of you know, stage of your life, be that a career goal that you have, long-term or short-term. So for example, if in 5 years time you'd like to see yourself working at Google, maybe put that on your CV and explain how doing a business management degree will help you achieve that goal. Maybe something that you've read as well online or on a newspaper, mention that too, even if it's something that's, you know, relating politics, because business management is very closely related to that. You can mention this. I certainly did in my personal statement. I said something like, I've read an article in The Economist about the 50 flavors of Brexit or something, because there was still the Brexit negotiations going on. So, you know, and that was something that was really interesting to me. It still is, though Brexit is done now. So yeah, all of these sort of things, for example, your experience that you may have, be that, you know, from your actual part-time job that you've had, for instance, or some sort of work experience placement that you've had, or something that you've read, or something that you've heard, an event that you've attended. All of these things very important to mention in your personal statement. There's another question about the grade requirements. Turn to business management. I believe it's AAA for A level or AAB and D-star DD for BTEC. However, do not quote me on this, please, because I'm not entirely sure. For all of this information, you need to go on qmul.ac.uk and search for business management program to see the exact entry requirements. There's another question.
I just have a question for both Georgia and Brinda. What was the most valuable society that you joined at, that you got the most from, that kind of really made a difference to you as a person?
Yeah, sure. Brinda, go ahead.
So for me, I think when you come to university, you just forget about being active. You're just, you know, lazy. You're in the library, you're in the lecture hall, you're in a seminar, you're in your room, you're in your flat kitchen. So for me, it was a dance society, because every 2 times or once a week, we would go there, and would actually be dancing for 2 hours straight, and there'd be a choreographer, they'd be teaching you dances. So I think it just helped me, stay sane amongst the mess that university life is. And it was really interesting because they had famous Bollywood choreographers come in from India sometimes, and it was just fascinating for me to learn from people who actually perform in movies. So I think it just kept me mentally healthy because I was constantly like looking forward to it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna dance with a few of my friends, and come back and study again. But yes, for me, it would be that.
Great. I think for me, I only joined two societies, guys, but I've really been engaged with them. I joined the Japanese society in my welcome week in first year, which you might think, okay, this is random. They had the best sweets though at the welcome fair. So again, that really attracted me to the Japanese society. I definitely didn't join just for the food. So the next society that I joined is the Business and Enterprise Society, which I told you about, where I'm head of partnerships, and that certainly has been extremely helpful to me because, like I told you, we've had different events with, for example, the director of product management and machine learning at Facebook, who flew in, literally, I'm not even kidding, from the Silicon Valley in America to the School of Business and Management. So he flew in just for that event.
Bill Gates.
Oh, Oh, yes, guys. I also attended
Bill
Gates in my first year when he came to campus to talk about a number of topics such as global leadership, philanthropy, and business, of course. And I also later on got to attend his book event, which was all online, thanks to Helen, by the way, because that was organized by the school. But again, going back to the Business Enterprise Society, we've had events with a number of companies that really has given me a great insight into them. So for example, when I've been applying for those companies and jobs at them, I've been able to talk about those experiences through the Business Enterprise Society during interviews, which I think is really valuable as an experience to have. And being part of a committee as well is very important because you have real life sort of duties to deliver on as part of your role. And it again gives you a great exposure to working with a number of different stakeholders, which is very important, irrespective of what job you end up in. Another question here that we've got is about, this will be on their webpage or UCAS. I suppose that you're referring to the entry requirements that will be on the Queen Mary website, qmul.ac.uk. And another question, if you didn't meet the requirements for GCSE but did in A-level, will you still be able to apply? Again, I'm only speaking from a student perspective here, but I know for a fact that the School of Business and Management assesses every application on a case-by-case basis, meaning that they don't look at every application in the same way because they look at it in terms of your entire application. So they look at your personal statement, your grades, what you've done outside of school, what your real interests are. So they don't just say, oh, this student doesn't meet the requirements, goodbye. Absolutely not. You'll be assessed overall. Yeah, Cameron.
Yeah, so for example, for me, Queen Mary didn't identify the school I was graduating from. I graduated from a European baccalaureate. So they set the standards really high. They said that I need a 90 average to come. And obviously I didn't meet the requirements, but then I sent him an email along with my teacher from high school, and he said that Brenda has performed well, but her grade is not as expected because of her chemistry module. And that's why Queen Mary just, looked at my grades that were, related to business management, and then they looked at my personal statement, and then I got it regardless.
I think the question is also if, for example, I didn't meet the GCSE requirements. So let's say I didn't pass maths GCSE,
right,
and that was a requirement.
Again, this is
are they going to waive my GCSE maths?
So this is again a very specific question related to admissions, which we as students can't really answer. However, I know that, for example, if the entry requirement is a 5 for maths and you get a 4, you will still be considered very much. So trust me, don't let that kind of put you down. Do apply. You still have a shot at getting in. I have a friend who got a 4 at maths. That's why I'm saying this example, and they still got in, and they're doing absolutely incredibly well. And they're joining Amazon very soon. So, this doesn't mean that you will not get in. And there's another question saying, is business management majority coursework or exam based? And again, this really depends because it changes every year. So academics or the lecturers have the right to change assessment methods based on what they think is best for us, the students, in terms of how we assess. In our first year, I believe we had about 7 or 8 exams overall, which included midterms and final exams. We've also had about the same number of coursework, maybe. We've had some group projects. So the assessment methods really vary, but they're not scary, guys, at all. I know that when I was applying to university, I thought, how am I going to do this because I'm going to fail? Absolutely not. There is so much support available. And again, like I said, if you put the work in, you'll do well. Brenda, do you have anything to add?
I think about the exam and coursework. I think in year one they give you a very healthy balance of coursework, group work, and exams. And then in year 2 and 3, it's actually just up to you. I suggest don't look at the assessment criteria, but look at the module content.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, assessment is assessment, whether it's an essay or an exam. It's what you want to learn. So yeah. But you do get to choose the modules, and when you're choosing the modules, they give you what the assessment is going to be, whether it's group work, whether it's essays, or with reports, or an exam.
Oh, absolutely. So, for example, in your second and third year, you've got basically
the freedom.
Yeah, it's really up to you what you do. So, in terms of assessment methods, if you say, for example, I prefer exams only, well, then go for modules that use that assessment method. But again, like Brenda said, don't just look at the assessment methods that they use for a module, because at the end of the day, if you really enjoy a module, it really wouldn't matter whether you're assessed by an exam, a coursework, or a group project, because you still have the knowledge to really talk about this in your exam or coursework or whatever method they're using to assess you. So again, don't limit yourself, and really do the things that you're actually passionate about, because that is going to help your career after that. So for example, if you're looking to, like I said, develop a career in marketing, or pursue a career in marketing rather, doing modules such as persuasive strategies in marketing, which is 100% exam-based module, is something that is going to help you, because it's a very practical module combining theory and also, like I said, best practice to, translate into the world of work. I'm not seeing any new questions coming. I think.
Guys, I've got my quiz. I put together a quick quiz, so I wonder whether if we're out of questions, whether we should do the quiz, because I do have a prize related to Bill Gates as well. Actually, let me just go and get it.
Do I get the chance to win this?
Can we participate as well?
I didn't get to go to the
Well, you've already got it. I think you've already got it, which is the Bill Gates book.
Oh
yes,
wow.
yes.
I've got another copy of the Bill Gates book. Hi everyone, I'm Helen, by the way. So if I see if this quiz is going to work, and you could win Bill Gates' new book. So let's see if this works. Hold on. Bear with me. Here we go. So if everyone could get their phones, hopefully you can see this. So with your phones, you need to go to menti.com. So www.
So we can only see your icon.
Yeah, we cannot see the screen.
Oh, let me try again. Has that worked?
No, I cannot see anything.
No.
No.
This is my worst nightmare. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work then, if that hasn't worked. Can you see that?
Nope.
No.
Is it a code, Helen, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to work though, because I mean, I can give you the code, but you won't be able to see the screen.
Oh, right.
I don't know why it's not working.
If you send it to me, I can share it if that will work.
Well, you don't have access to my login, so
okay.
it's on Menti.
Right.
It's supposed to come up on the screen. Let me try again. Oh, something's coming up.
Are you attending this call from 2 different screens?
Can you see that? I'm presuming not.
No.
No, okay. I tried. Okay, well, I'll just have to put my slides up and we'll come up with a quiz question for the Can you see this? Oh, wow, okay. Okay.
Helen, do you have presenter access in terms of, having the ability to share your screen, or?
Wow, okay. I've not had this before on Teams. Philippa, are you there?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Philippa, could you check to see whether I've got the ability to present? Because I can't seem to be able to share my slides.
Yeah, you're under as a presenter, and what you've done is you've shared the icon HG, so you've shared something, but not your actual presentation. Because if you couldn't share, you wouldn't have been able to share your icon. My only option is to shall I remove you as a presenter and re-add you?
Sure, let's give it a go.
Okay, I've removed you and re-added you. Do you want to unshare? Because if you're sharing something, so do you want to unshare completely and start again?
I think you're on mute, Helen. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I cannot hear Helen.
Yeah, no, you're muted, Helen.
Oh, maybe she doesn't even have access to unmute.
No, I think she does, because she don't
She
have
does.
across.
We'll never know.
We still can't hear you.
These things happen with Teams, and Zoom, it's okay.
I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can do my end, but everything's open for you, Helen.
If you want, you can just send your slides at least to one of us, and we can share them. At least that way you'll be able to present that.
But then she won't be able to talk.
Oh, right.
No, we cannot hear. Oh, let me. Philip, I was wondering if you could possibly maybe like remove Helen and then bring her back into the session and then make her presenter again, if that would work, just to try and see whether that will actually.
Yeah, I removed her as a presenter, made her a participant, and then re-added her as a presenter, and everything's there. The only way that I can do is remove you from the meeting entirely and you rejoin.
Oh, okay. Let me.
I've also just messaged Jo to see if she.
Let's see.
Really participant.
I'm guessing if that's the only way, maybe we could try it just to, make sure that we get things moving.
Yeah. Okay, Helen, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Can you? Oh, Jo, hang on, Jo.
Hi.
Helen can't unmute.
Oh, we just need to make her a presenter.
She is a presenter.
Oh, you should be able to, Helen.
No, I think she's frozen now as well.
I think it might be a connection. I think it might be to do with her connection rather than us, because in theory, she should be able to.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a look, and she's there as a presenter, and just to try and resolve it, I removed her as a presenter, put her back as a presenter, and it's still not unmuting.
There's nothing else we can do our end. It looks all set up correctly.
Okay, I'm really sorry, Helen. There seems to be some technical issue, and also, unfortunately, Brenda, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Perfect. Okay. I think maybe we need to wrap this up then. Is there anything more that both of you want to add? I'm really sorry about this, Helen.
We're happy to answer more questions, but I think we've explained everything.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Okay.
Any questions, throw them at us. We're very happy to answer anything that you have in mind. That's what we're here for, and we understand that you might be feeling a bit anxious to ask questions, but go for it, because this is your chance to really get an insight into what studying business management is like and where that can take you after your degree.
And like Georgie said, if you want, you can also reach out to us on LinkedIn and we can help you out there as well.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.